Welcome to the Five Senses Optimum Health channel. We provide science-based tools to optimize your health, well-being, and longevity. Join us on this journey to a healthier and happier life. Let's dive in.
What energy means, it's actually a molecule called adenosine triphosphate. And I will try to use the less, like a scientific terms, but I just want to give this because so people will understand. And this molecule is actually produced in a very tiny structure of our cell called mitochondria, right? So mitochondria, think about that as a producer of energy. Okay, this is their energy producers. As we age, we have less mitochondria in our body. So our primary goal is to increase mitochondria, okay? And there are so many amazing things and tools that we can use to increase mitochondria in our body. This way we can elevate the energy. But let's first look at what are the typical solutions that people use when they low energy. What they will do, they will indulge on coffee, okay? So they will drink coffee throughout the day. They will indulge on energy bars, right? They're so loaded with big amount of caffeine and sugars. So, and what happens, I'm not saying that caffeine is bad. Actually, we're going to touch on that. Actually, caffeine is very beneficial to the focus and alertness. But what happens in the body when we drink caffeine first thing in the morning? Because this is the key, to know when to drink caffeine, right? Because when you wake up, you have adenosine stored in your body, right? So this is the molecule that actually builds up with sleep. And when you woke up, this adenosine, it's still in your system. It will take time to flush away the adenosine from your system. And what happens when you drink coffee first thing in the morning? That it binds to the same adenosine receptors. So you kind of, keep your adenosine there and you start drinking coffee. And coffee basically is a stimulant, right? It's an antagonist to adenosine that will give you this, rush of energy right away, especially, like a 5 minutes or, 30 minutes, you're going to be at peak and then it wears down. And what happens, but adenosine still builds up, okay? Still builds up in your system because you didn't let it out of your system. And what happens after the coffee wears out, you have this like huge energy crush. And the key point here is to wait from 60 to 90 minutes after you wake up and wait until you can drink coffee. Okay. Yeah. So again, I'm not talking about the coffee is bad. Actually, coffee is super beneficial. It's neuroprotective. It protects against depression. If you drink coffee with fasting, because for instance, I practice intermittent fasting. In the morning, I don't eat until noon or even later in the day, due to many benefits also for energy. So like fasting combined with coffee. So let's say you waited 90 minutes and then you drink your coffee, you get this huge, boost of focus and alertness and energy. So coffee is actually good. So you may want to know, okay, so what are the other methods, how you can actually bring the energy and alertness, right? So, and the first tool, and I'm actually going to give you today useful, like a science-based tools that you can easily implement into your life, like starting tomorrow. Don't wait, just, starting tomorrow, wake up and start doing that. And the first one that I want to share with you is actually, it's the sun gazing. It's basically what it means that you go outside and you look at the sun. And what it does, that this, sun viewing early in the day, it's the most powerful stimulants of the wakefulness, right? And it has really like profound and positive impact to your ability to fall asleep at night, so you can feel rested, so you can be energized the next day, right? So it's super powerful tool. And what happens, while you do that, you actually, by looking at the sunlight, you increase your hormone called cortisol. You probably heard about cortisol being, hormone of stress. But you must know that stress can be positive and it can be negative. So we're talking about the good stress, right? Good stress for our body. So you are increasing your cortisol hormones first part of the day, and this is what you want to do, because that will bring you alertness, that will bring you focus, that will bring you energy. And why it's happening, you have on the like a set of neurons on your eye retina that actually reacts to the sunlight. And when the neurons is actually like exposed to the bright light, they increase the level of cortisol in your body. But it doesn't work if you just look at the window. It's not going to work this way. Or you're sitting in your car and you're like looking at the sun. No, you must go outside within the 30 to 60 minutes. When you wake up, go outside and look at the sun. If it's too bright, so make sure that the sun is, and we call it like angular, right? So it's not the direct light from the sky. It's basically angular. During the sunrise is the perfect time, up until 9 o'clock in the morning. So, and if it's a bright, 5 minutes would be enough for you. If it's cloudy, so maybe spend 10, 15 minutes. And, if you live in the countries that, they're like darkness and you're like covered in clouds, it's still gonna work. You just need to spend more time. I mean, if we're talking about the countries like where there is a half year of the nighttime, then we need to be creative and we need to actually set up those LED devices in our desk, and that will help to increase your cortisol level. So amazing, easy practice. So when you wake up, just go outside and look at the sun. Okay, so that's the first thing that you can do. UJ mentioned the cold. That's amazing practice. I started cold therapies, actually cold plunges, about a year ago. Mm-hmm. And it created so much profound effect in my body in terms of, resilience and also energy, right? So what happens is that when you're exposed to the cold, your body temperature is increasing. So you want our body works as a thermostat. This is how your mind and body connection works, right? So basically you're exposing yourself to the cold water, and cold water releases adrenaline, and it serves as you increase your core body temperature. And this is what you want to do, right? Because it's not just increasing adrenaline, it's also increasing dopamine, which is a molecule involved in motivation, focus, right? So how you can do that, you can just go and take cold shower. And the way that I do it, the way it's easy to do, I start with hot water. So I kind of feel that my body is, being nurtured by feeling the hot water. And then I will switch it off to the cold water, and I will do 20 or 30 seconds. And I will do it for maybe 5-6 times, right? So you can build it up. You don't necessarily need to do that at the first time. You can build this habit up. So start with maybe
you make it sound so easy, so comfortable, so refreshing.
Right. So because some people tell me, oh my gosh, I can never get into the cold water. Yes, start with the hot water and then go into the cold water. You can progress your practice to be more resilient, and this is where you can introduce the cold plunge. And actually wintertime is the perfect time of doing that, because you just fill your bathtub with cold water. And now, I live in Reno, Nevada, so it's snowing outside. We have a snowstorm, and the temperature in the, inside of the, tubes, it's around, so if we're talking Fahrenheit, it's going to be 50, I would say 56. If we're talking Celsius, it's going to be around 15, right? So it's cold enough. It's cold enough for you to experience the shock. You can even, if you can even bring some, bag of ice and pour it into the bathtub, and just start with 30 seconds and build it up. And when you do that, just breathe. So you just need to breathe. You can also practice in-hold breathing, like a deep, breathing technique, where you then, you breathe and you hold your breath, and, then you will continue breathing. That will help you to actually work it out and make yourself prepared for this shocking experience. But once you do that, you have the rise of adrenaline and dopamine, and you have tons of energy